So what's up, Flip Factor family? It's Michael Green with the Flip Factor podcast, the #1 podcast dedicated to teaching you how to flip 1 to 2 houses each month to live the life you want. Today, we're talking about expert level negotiations with Tyler Sheff from the Cash Flow Guys. Welcome, Tyler.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Dude, man, very excited to have you on here. A lot of people don't know this about Tyler. First of all, he's a master at rentals and building, what we call mailbox cash, right? Where money just comes to your mailbox. But he's also an expert level negotiator. So it's been a really big gift for him to come on the show and share some really great stuff with us today. So thank you for jumping on. Tyler, if you're ready, let's jump right in, man. I always like to get right to the content.
Let's make it happen.
Dude, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So for me, I actually started flipping houses many, many years ago. I started flipping houses back in year 2000. Like a lot of people, I made a lot of money, and there were some times I lost money. The biggest loss I ever had, though, was when I had to write a really big check to the IRS after a really successful year. That was around about 2005, 2006, when things down here in Florida kind of started to take their hit. For me, I had a real problem paying a big tax bill. Always look for ways to mitigate the taxes and keep my taxes, keep more money, as they say. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of lazy. So the research led me to buying properties and just holding them, which turned into, again, remember, I'm lazy. So buying and holding a single family house, I'd have to buy a lot of them to be able to really, truly retire. So I learned how to buy small, medium-sized apartment buildings, fix them up, and then I keep them for the long haul. And that's kind of got me to where I am now.
Dude, that's awesome stuff, man. And I definitely will say that I've experienced the same thing. That does come with being great at house flipping. You got to pay the man every year, and it is annoying and a headache. And I mean, the good news is you're making a lot of money if you're paying a lot of money, but I love your take on it. And I really do. I'm starting, Tyler and other guys like Tyler are starting to shift my thinking from flipping a ton of houses to at least finding a balance between the two. So, I love flipping, creates active income for me, but eventually it's nice to get some rentals to depreciation and really offset the taxes that you would pay and then have some money working for you while you're doing everything else. So I do love that for sure. So negotiations, Tyler, tell us a little bit about how you started to learn to become a master level negotiator.
Well, by doing, for one, what I've learned in the real estate space is that most 99% of people out there have no clue how to negotiate. That means sellers, buyers, wholesalers. As being a main customer of wholesalers as the flipper, very rarely do they bring good deals to the table, and that's primarily because they never ask, right? If I'm a wholesaler looking to provide flips to you, Michael, the most wholesalers, the people that I see, they're going out and asking, what's your bottom dollar to the seller? They agree to whatever the seller's willing to agree to, and then they bring it to you and knock on your door and say, hey, Michael, buy this great deal. And you're like, dude, I could do better than that off the MLS. That's not a great deal. Well, what is a great deal? And they don't ask until. So a lot of negotiation for me comes down to really finding out what people's perceptions are. And with sellers, it's getting to why are they really selling? And I know that sounds cliche and everybody says that and yada, 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 but very few people actually know that. Real estate agents don't know it. I can't tell you how many flippers don't know why the seller was selling the house to begin with. They have no clue. Wholesalers, same thing. They have no idea. Landlords, doesn't matter. Nobody really truly understands the seller's motivation. Therefore, the only thing that's left over is I want to pay as little as possible and I'll give you all cash. I'll give you all my money, all my cash to buy this property, and hopefully you'll give me a better deal. We both know, folks, that doesn't get you where you need to go.
It really doesn't even matter in this market much anymore, to be honest. Everyone's cash. Everyone can get money. Money's easy again. So that I'm a cash buyer thing is kind of irrelevant now. I'm finding for us that being able to build that deep connection, you're right, it sounds cliche, but it's been the secret weapon, is creating a process for how we take people from where they are to where we need them to be. And that process isn't as simple as it was 5 or 6 years ago, but it's very real. We might spend a lot more time doing it, but the rewards are huge on the backside. We're able to get really deeply discounted properties and a nice flow of properties to do whatever we want with. We can rent them, we can wholesale them, or we can keep them as flips. And so, depending on whatever, some of the students I work with, Tyler, they just love flips. They know who you are. I mean, they love rentals. They know who you are, and they're just really big. And I'm like, hey, I'm more here to teach you how to find deals, right? That's the secret you need. You got to figure out how to find them. What you do with them after the fact, that's a whole nother can of worms, but just make sure you get a great deal and you have the ability to do whatever you want with it. That's really the secret here.
Exactly.
And that's where the negotiations come in. Could you share with everyone who's listening right now, what do you feel like your favorite negotiation tactic that's really working for you right now? That's if you figured out in the last year or two.
Honestly, and this will sound kind of crazy, but saying as little as possible. Here's the reality. Like you just said, everybody's a cash buyer, right? And even if they're not a cash buyer, they pretend to be a cash buyer. Everybody in the arena, if there's me and 10 other people trying to buy the same house, let's say, most people that are there buying the properties are broke. They don't have any money. they're going to relying on some hard money broker, somebody else to fund the deal. Maybe it's an IRA, who knows. At the end of the day, they have to beat these sellers up to get a great deal, because if they're going to make profit on flipping a property or renting one, they got to focus on the costs, right? What makes or breaks a flip or any real estate transaction is the cost involved in doing it. The cost of funds is one of the biggest ones. Here's an example of what happens. One of my favorite strategies is simply to ask questions and then keep my mouth shut. And what I learn from these sellers helps me structure a deal exactly hitting all the points the sellers want while also hitting my points. An example of this is truly diving into, why are you selling, Mr. Jones? Well, because, because I want to move. Well, okay. Beyond that, why do you want to move? And you distill it down into, well, my wife's got medical bills, and we're behind on our car payments, or whatever the issue may be. What's gauging their motivation? I don't waste any time talking to anybody who's not extraordinarily motivated. I'm not going to win a badge for sitting in front of the most amount of people, right? I'm not going to impress my buddies with that in the gym. I'm going to do well, and I'm going to make money by getting the most properties across the closing table and beyond. That said, I'm only one person, and no matter how big my team is, we can only go so big, so we can only do so much. That means I do not waste time talking with people that are unqualified to sell. And I don't think many people has ever heard of that before, unqualified to sell. In my opinion, a seller who's qualified to sell, for me, is motivated, needs a portion of their equity right now, and probably will consider a portion of it later. For a flipper or a rehabber, that's like, what's it going to take to solve the problem, Mr. Jones? You need $20,000 so you can take your wife on a European vacation. Okay. So $20,000 is used for what? Plane tickets, right? We need plane tickets, hotel stays. Mr. Jones, if I could come up with these plane tickets and get you a chauffeured limo to get you to the airport and give you some running around money for while you're in Europe, would that make sense to you? I can make those arrangements. Now, what am I good at? I'm good at negotiating. One of the ways I negotiate is I build a large team of people, one of them being a travel agent, who can get me ridiculous travel deals. So I'll pick up the phone and say, hey, Jane, see what you could do and get me 2 tickets to Paris and some shows and some dinners and whatnot. The seller's perception is all this costs $20,000. Well, what if Tyler can get it done for $5,000? So in that case, if I get it done for $5,000, I will pull the trigger and buy these things for the seller, give them to the seller in exchange for that $20,000 he thought he needed. See, the $20,000 goes away. Now, you're flipping a house. Would an extra $20,000 that you don't have to spend on the front end help your position? Absolutely. Additionally, guy needs some gas money because he's going to buy an RV when he gets back from there. Well, Mr. Seller, what's that look like? Here's the deal. I'm going to buy this house, fix it up, and sell it to somebody else. That's going to take me 6 months, a year, whatever it's going to take me. If I have to give you cash now, I'm going to need an exceptional discount on the property. And I would probably give him something of, 40% of ARV, something that'll blow his mind, but he'll be so angry. He'll just be like, what are you high? Are you on drugs? There's no way I can sell it to you that. Mr. Jones, I really don't even I don't want to buy it at that price because I don't want to walk away with you mad at me. The more I understand your situation, the better I can solve it. Let me suggest this. What if I could get closer to your price by maybe working out some sort of a delayed gratification scenario? Let's say that we did a note to mortgage to allow the deed to transfer. You hold your equity out and it will pay you in 6 months, 8 months, or 9 months. If you allow me to do that, I can give you X amount more for this property, which would be basically half of what it would cost me to go get a hard money loan and points and all the extra stuff and have to deal with the draws and the whatnot. We both know that when you do a lot of these flips, you can spend several $1,000s in just borrowing money very easily. Closing costs, appraisals. Need I go on? Inspection fees when the inspectors come out, sometimes depending on what type of hard money lender you're using. If you're a rookie, it's going to cost you a fortune to borrow money, flipping a house, unless you got somebody like yourself that's coaching them and sharing those resources. But the average Joe that walks into a real estate meeting and borrows money from a hard money lender, they're going to have thousands of dollars in fees aside from what they borrow. What if you could cut that number in half? Well, number one, you're going to be more profitable. Number two, the seller's going to be happier because you make more money for them. So that's just one small example of how you can use a situation and the facts surrounding a situation to put a better deal together for both you and the seller.
And honestly, just when I hear you talk about that, I literally just think of the fact of just you knowing that means you're diving deep with them. You're really getting into and hearing what they have to say. You're being such a great active and, reactive listener also, or proactive listener. I actually heard this word recently. We always hear active listening. I heard proactive listening.
Yes.
And yeah, it's a really great word because you're actively listening, but then you're proactively driving the conversation too. And you're finding out the things proactively that they really want. And so few people do that. And a lot of people are just going in and they're using old school tactics, talk crap about the house. And, this thing's in bad shape. You have to sell it at a big discount. And I'm usually doing the opposite. I don't know if you see that working. I'm just building rapport. And generally when they like me and they trust me, they want to do business with me.
Absolutely. As a
And,
matter of fact, I just interviewed a girl for my show, and this girl has just crushed it. She's a single mom, flipping houses by herself, no help from anybody. And the one thing she kept going back to is she would ask people after the fact, why did you choose to do business with me? And in every case, it was because they said, Amanda, because we like you. The end. It wasn't you were a quote unquote cash buyer. It wasn't that you had some sort of fancy script that you were reading or something like that, or you graduated at Rich Dad University and have a certificate on your wall or whatever it may be. It was that we just liked you. You were just nice to us. And you listened to us. Like you said, active listening.
yeah, that's amazing. You got my head spinning. I'm doing the interview, but I'm actually thinking about other stuff now, like marketing and stuff, how, we do it really well when we get in front of them, but how about our marketing? It's been that same boilerplate stuff for so long. I wonder if there's something I could do with some of my direct mail that would make people like me more. Put my nice, cute dog or something.
Yeah, I mean, animals are a big pull. And honestly, everybody's busy. Well, they say the attention span's 6 seconds, right? A lot of marketing, not to say that yours is this way, I've never even looked at your marketing, but a lot of marketing out there that someone listening to the show, they feel like they have to trick someone into calling them on the phone. And if you have that mindset going in, think about how that's going to start your relationship with the person that you're hoping you can establish know, like, and trust, and build rapport with and earn their trust. Your marketing is that first step. The "We buy houses cash" on the side of the road sign, right? It's not, everybody's been doing it for a decade, let's say. But let's be honest. Of the people, how many of the people putting these signs out, have any cash to begin with? They can barely afford the sign on the side of the road. They're not buying with their own cash. If you're saying "we buy houses cash," then what you're saying is there's no other solution I can offer you. That's it. That's all I got. There's no more. And when you start a relationship essentially with hitting them over the head, how are things going to work out? Instead, a marketing program that appeals to someone, that ties into them. Hey, have you ever thought about, Russell Brunson from ClickFunnels says, hook, story, offer. In order to really draw somebody in, you got to have a hook. And I hate to tell you, folks, "We buy houses cash" isn't the hook. A hook, a story, and an offer. A hook would be, what if I could get you top dollar for your house in the next 30 days or something like that? I don't have one prepared for this interview, but just throwing off the top of my head, a hook that would draw them in. Or don't give your house away. That'd be a great hook. Don't give your house away to a stranger. The story would be, I remember when I had this hard situation and somebody came in and whatever, they sat down and talked to me and it made me feel better. And I sold my house and I felt good about it. And this is how it all played out. The offer would be, give us a call today. Let us sit down with you and have a conversation and see what type of solution we could come up with to help you out of your situation, whatever it may be. Totally different outcome than "we buy houses cash. Text me. It'll be great."
Yeah, that used to work though. I mean, I guess, and here's the thing, it's tough to tell what's really great, because when people are highly motivated, anything will work. But we're not really in that scenario anymore. The market's really hot and it's amazing right now. And we definitely have to take a different approach. So you got my copywriting brain turning right now. I'm definitely going to take some notes. I think it's time to upgrade the letters. And I love where the hook you had for taking off the top of your head was actually a great one. And I'm already thinking of some cool stuff. Tell me a little bit about, so for you, well, let me just repeat what I'm hearing from you. I feel like this is your competitive edge when you're sitting with someone, is being able to really connect with them at a high level and find solutions other than just hey, we'll pay cash for it and take it at a big discount, because people aren't really truly that motivated anymore to sell at the big discount. I mean, if they wait 6 months to sell their home, it's probably going to be worth more. And it's not like before in the past, if they waited 6 months, they could be worth 10,000 or 15,000 less. There's no real urgency to sell right now. So I love where you're coming from.
Well, it's true. And when you engage with people and you listen to what they have to say, and like tying back to what you said, active listening, if you can repeat back part of the conversation to them, restate things in a different way to make sure it's clear. When people feel they're being listened to, it's an entirely different experience than if you're just talking at somebody. In other words, I speak around the country on stage, right? I'll speak to people and I've done motivational stuff and all kinds of different things. It's a different relationship when I'm standing up on a stage talking at you than if we're sitting at Starbucks having a cup of coffee, having a great conversation where we're actually maintaining eye contact. Nobody's cell phone is in their other hand and they're half paying attention to their Instagram feed and half paying attention to what I'm saying. We are a very distracted society. And any time that we can put ourselves in a position to where the other we inform, whether it be audibly or visually, the other party that we're focused on what they're saying, that we really care about what they're saying, that is one huge step towards building that know, like, and trust. But I see this a lot, and I've watched people. I'm a big study of people. I've actually been at houses when I've watched wholesalers come in and sit down and talk to people. And I've been there with sellers just listening, people I know and things like that, because I'm curious to see how they react. And I've seen these kids walk in, they got their hat backwards, they got baggy pants and the dirt on their shirt. and they got their cell phone in their hand. They're like, hold up, let me take this call real quick, right in the middle of a conversation with the seller. Any one of those roll your eyes type moments where the average person would be like, what are you doing? I mean, are you here or on the phone with your girlfriend? Focus on people and pay attention to people, and boy, will they educate you with exactly what they need for you to walk out the door with the keys to their house. That's simple.
Yeah, I mean, people forget that this is the big game, right? This one transaction, it doesn't take many transactions to have financial freedom. If you're flipping a house and making 35K a house, 4 or 5 houses a year can set you up to live whatever life you want. If you're buying 5 or 6 rentals a year, anything. I mean, it doesn't take a lot. So this is for the big game. People need to take this serious. You're in there having a $40,000 conversation, but I don't know if people actually feel like that's the case. And you're right, they're not they take it to like level 1 or 2 is what I've seen also. And I've even personally done it myself, so I'm not hating on anyone or judging, because I've definitely been out there where I was taking it to level 1 or 2, and I'm just realizing the last couple of years, and this is the great gift that we've gotten from this competitive market, is stretching us out to realize there's many other levels we can be going to with negotiations and how we handle stuff. We just never been forced to do it until now. And I'm very excited from the market downturns a little bit, because at the end of the day, I'm sure we'll get even more deals, more opportunity, and we'll be in a good position to really be able to use some of these higher level skills we've been forced to learn.
Well, and you're going to have better solutions. You see, when the only solution you have is I can give you all cash and close in an hour and a half, that's not really that's one of 100 different solutions. When the market shifts, and depends on your market where you are, if that's the only game you got, that 70% of ARV minus repairs, and I can give you all cash and close in 12 minutes, you're not going to survive. You're going to get trounced in the upcoming market. But the person that can go out there and solve the seller's problem can walk into an ugly house or a pretty house, shouldn't matter, and negotiate amazing deals based on solutions. Those are the people that are going to ride out the downturn and ride out the crashes.
No, I agree. And I've seen that many, many times. The people would have their stuff together they feel the downturn, but they do well and survive. They're not crushed by it. So that's good stuff. We have a common friend, Chris Moses, and he told me a story that I'd love you to share. Something about a trash pile in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Do you mind sharing that? Because I only got third-hand knowledge of it, and I was so engaged by it, because I'm like, is this real? And he's like, no, I thought it wouldn't have been real. Tyler told me this, and it's totally real. You got to ask him about it.
Yeah, so I'm a fisherman, and I used to work for the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration years ago. I worked for the federal government. I was on a research ship, and the first ship I was on was stationed out of Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. And, twist my arm, send me to Hawaii for a year and let me sail around the South Pacific. This is, I can't believe you're paying me for this. But the ship docked next to us, it's called I believe it was the Oscar SETI. Its job, its whole mission in existence is to go out to what they call the Great Pacific, I can't remember the name of it now, trash, but basically it's a floating pile of garbage. The ocean currents in the Pacific go with a set pattern, and all the trash that winds up in the ocean, that gets thrown in the ocean, either over in Asia or on the west coast of the United States, winds up in this giant mound circle of garbage that's floating free out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. In some cases, it's hundreds of feet deep, the plastic and all the stuff that's floating. But it creates an amazing ecosystem for ocean life. It's fish, and that's why I said I'm a fisherman. So when I was on my ship, we went by this thing one time. It was as far as the eye can see. They say that it's bigger than Texas.
Wow.
The size of this thing is absolutely bigger than the size of Texas. And this one NOAA ship, its whole job is to go out there and take a scoop of it with a crane, a couple scoops of it, put it on the deck of the ship, and they go all the way back to Hawaii and dump it in Pearl Harbor, and they take it off to the incinerator or whatever they do. But this ship goes out there several times a month and just grabs a piece of this. And imagine the size of Texas in one little ship that's like 300 foot long. So it can't hold a lot of it, and it's all waterlogged and whatnot. But that's what they do. They go out there and pile this trash and bring it into Pearl Harbor and dispose of it. But it's got whales. It's so thick you can literally walk on it.
Really?
Unbelievable.
Wow. That's you'll have to look that up on Google and check it out.
Google it. And there's YouTube videos. They did flyovers of it in the whole 9 yards. It was mind blowing. I couldn't believe it.
That's crazy. When I heard that, I was like, it's like almost like the nature's way of dealing with our crap, right? That we've thrown. It's kind of cool.
One thing I didn't tell him is there's another one actually in South Padre Island, Texas.
Really?
The garbage that we throw in here in Florida and in Texas that winds up in the ocean also winds up in South Padre Island, Texas. That's where all the trash goes from the Gulf of Mexico. Go figure.
Well, that was a glowing review for South Padre
Yeah,
Island.
don't buy
The tourist association thanks you.
Yeah, don't flip houses in South Padre Island.
I hear it's a beautiful place, though, besides the trash mound. But
Yeah,
I've heard other than that, it's amazing.
10% of ARV.
Right, yeah, exactly. Because you have a trash pile. You guys, it's where all the trash comes. Sorry. We normally would go, and we could settle usually in 12 minutes, but with this one, we're going to have to take it up to 12 years settlement when they come clean up.
You heard
That's
it here
funny.
first.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to South Padre Island looking for a discount. So, Tyler, thank you, man. I really appreciate everything you've shared. Some really good nuggets. Everyone, and I mean, me personally, I'm taking notes just like a lot of the listeners. I'm sure the listeners are going to get tons of value. And, we start this community as a part of, just being able to share and give back. And you've really given a lot today. And thank you for that. And, when we have guests on like you who, just openly share amazing information, it really helps improve the community and get people started and trying to change lives. So thank you in a big way for that. It really means a lot to me. If people want to reach out to you, Tyler, how do they reach you?
Best way to get through to me is through my website. It's cashflowguys.com. And of course, you can listen to the podcast there, and you can watch my YouTube videos, and we've got educational materials that we give away on the website. So there's all kinds of good value there.
Only one warning comes with listening to his website, because I've been on it. You're probably going to want to start doing rentals. If you're a flipper, he might take you to the dark side. I'm totally cool with it. I'm noticing that I bought a couple rentals since I met him a few months ago, and a lot of it's been probably to do with the fact that I'm over here perusing on his site, and I love the name Mailbox Money. It's such a great name. One of his courses he has, such a cool name, and I just think that it says everything that we want when we become landlords. So cool stuff, man. Thank you.
Come to my website if you're lazy. It's only for lazy people.
It's only for lazy people who want money coming to their mailbox and nothing more. Okay. Well, I think you'll have some new fans soon. That was a glowing recommendation. Thank you, Tyler. Have a great day, buddy.
All right,
Dude, great having you on.
Thank you.